So a little reminder, we were learning about simple interest. And in simple interest, we had this formula where P was the principal, R was the rate, T was time. Do you think you'll remember that formula for your quiz? Sort of?
We went to the quiz.
We haven't set a date for the next quiz. Maybe after we're done section 8, we'll have our second quiz, part 8. We're on part 5. So would this be a good thing to put on your cheat sheet? Absolutely. And just putting it on your cheat sheet like this isn't as helpful unless you're explaining, because ask yourself, if you have this on your cheat sheet, would you wonder what P stands for? Would you wonder what R stands for? So on your cheat sheet, not only are you putting formulas, but you are also describing what they are. P stands for the principal or the starting amount. She borrowed $5,000. R is the interest rate as a decimal. Since it's 6.5%, 6.5% as a decimal, you just move your decimal over 2 spots, divide by 100, and you get 0.065. And the time is in years, and since it's 9 months, that's a fraction of a year. There's 12 months in a year. 9 out of 12 is 0.75 of the year. So we put it into the formula. Type that exactly as you see in your calculator, and you will get $243.75. So now how much does the furniture cost her in total? It'll cost her the initial amount, $5,000, then she has to add the interest that was charged. She's going to pay extra for it. And this is something to be aware of when borrowing money. Okay? Probably not yet. Okay, first of all, money cards. How many people have a debit card already? Okay. But does anybody have a credit card? You have a credit card already? Okay. So,
Just Fraser.
difference between a debit card and a credit card. A debit card, when you pay, you can only buy something if you have money in your bank account. A credit card will give you a limit, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000. Over time, it gets bigger and bigger. I can spend a lot of money on my credit card. And even if you don't have the money, you don't have any money, but it says you can spend $1,000, you go, beep, and you get the item. You just bought $1,000 shoes. Very exciting. And you don't have to pay for a whole month. But after the month, if you don't pay all of it, then they charge you interest.
It's cold in here, but it's cold out there, but it's hot in here still. Sorry.
And so we have to be aware of how those interest values work. Because when you pay interest, you're not just paying the $5,000 originally, you add the interest, you pay more. And with credit cards, you pay a lot more, because usually interest rates are around 18%. Yes.
Looks like we don't. Is that like our credit score is getting
Your credit score goes down, yes, when you don't pay off your credit card, because they want to see, are you reliable with getting credit? That's what a credit score, are you making your payments? But even worse than not making your payments, they actually like it when you don't make your payments, because that's when they make money. You bought those $1,000 pair of shoes, right? 18% of $1,000 is $180. If you didn't pay those shoes off for a year, you would have to pay an extra $180 for them. That's a lot of money. 30%.
Yeah, can I?
Yeah.
Am I
Did you
gonna
check?
interrupt?
No,
I don't
go
wanna
right-
steal your vibe.
No, it's good.
But I think I've been saying for years that this isn't talked about enough in school, so I love this unit.
Mhm.
And I love that it's a part of the curriculum now. But for those like credit makes kind of the world go round here, guys. Let's say you want to live, you want to get a apartment to rent. Do you know anybody, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles who live on their own, right? You gotta go get a place. You gotta put your name down on a, you want to live in Moray Village. Okay, great. They do a credit check. Credit is everything. You might not even be able to get a place without it. With a credit card, you should never use more than 30% of your credit. So the perfect credit holder is someone who has, say, what would be 30% of $1,000 credit card? $300. So you should never at any one time, come your monthly statement or whatever, you should never have more than 300. If you have more than 300, then the banks go, they look like they need this credit. But if you don't use it at all, then it looks like then you're not really building credit either. So it's like that fine line. Anything under 30% usage is kind of what you want to use a credit card for. Sorry.
So it's important to know how the interest rates work because yes, you get your credit score if you're paying it off, but they actually like it if you don't pay it off because that's when they make a lot of money. And that's why credit cards have so many good deals with them, right? I get free car insurance if I rent a car with my credit card. So I don't have to pay the extra insurance because that's built into the credit card. I get money back.
Which credit card was that?
Well, it's just a lot of them have that.
Really?
Yeah.
I better read that fine print.
I get money back if I use my credit card. So they have all these incentives to use your credit card. Some of them have points, some of them have flight things involved with them. And all of these things are good things because they want people to use it and then they want people to screw up and not pay it off because then they can charge them a lot of money. And all of the points and all of the benefits that you have gained so far will be lost in 1 or 2 times that you don't pay it off in full. But we'll get more to credit cards later. This is just understanding how interest works because a credit card is something that can charge you interest if you do not pay it off. So here we have some of our formulas. The total amount will always be your principal plus your interest. Or you could use, here I'll put a green box around the interest. This is our interest formula. Our interest formula is the PRT formula. So we could write it as P plus interest, and you could write the interest as the formula. And another way of writing this exact same formula, this gets into a little bit of algebra, even some grade 10 pre-calculus math, is that you factor out the value of P, and you get 1 plus just the R and the T. Different formulas, you can put these on your formula sheet. I think it's easiest if you have your interest rate formula on there, and then it makes sense that you're just going to have your principal plus your interest for your total amount. But let's do a couple more questions. Max invests $4,200 at 3.5% simple interest. So what do we know? We know that the principal, the original amount was $4,200. We know the rate as a decimal, 0.035, and the time is 15 years. So when we go to our formula, we can plug everything in. So I would probably, actually, I'm gonna go back. Like personally for you guys, I think I would just calculate my interest first. I would do, our interest formula is PRT, 4,200, the rate 0.035, the time 15 years. I would type that into my calculator and get my interest. $2,205. Nice. So how much will it be? His total amount, well, he started with 4,200. Add the interest and get the total. 6,405.
Honestly, not bad because it's 15 years.
15 years. It's a long time, right? 3.5% is okay. It's not amazing, right? If I was doing this lesson 8 years ago, it would have been amazing. You could not get 3.5% interest 8 years ago. Now you can get 3.5% interest, but life isn't amazing because things cost way more, and it costs way more to get money from the bank. So it's like it's a give and take. And then we already did, right? We already did this part B already. You wouldn't have had to do any other work. They used, in my notes here, I used a different formula, found the total first, and then I would subtract the amount to see the difference. I like finding the interest first for you guys. Keep things simple with using our main formula and then going from there. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I agree.
Find your interest, add it up, get your total. Okay, so this next one, I'm gonna give you a head start. You're gonna try example 5 on your own. Dominique invests 1,500 into a savings account.
Ja, det går med något galet.
Yeah. If you get it quicker than other people, you can work ahead.
Ja,
It's good?
där.
No, no necesitas. Esta. This is a fun unit for me too, because I like making money. It's like a hobby. It's a good hobby to have. I go to work so I can make money. If I do things like this to get interest, I like it.
If you don't know something, like knowledge is power, and everybody has the opportunity to learn.
Did you figure out the interest first? That's what I would do. Figure out your interest first. Do 1,500
Is it 9?
times by 0.06 times 10, and you get 900. How'd you do? Okay. Now what's the total? The total will equal the 1,500 plus the 900. 2,400 in total. So I didn't click on the boxes because I knew the boxes would probably use one of the other formulas. I liked figuring out my interest first, adding it up.
So is that a lot of interest? Is that bad or good?
It's pretty good. You made $900 for doing nothing.
Keep in mind, you're not borrowing on that one. You're investing, so that interest is good interest.
Sergio, I have a question.
Yes.
When you have a bad credit score, can you get like a credit card again?
If you have a bad credit score, can you get a credit card again? Possibly, because you would need something to build up your credit. Okay.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about having good and bad credit scores, right? I have a good credit score, and I go to buy a car, and they check they're like, we're gonna lend you money to buy the car. Somebody else walks in, wants to buy the same car as me. I have a good credit score, they have a bad credit score. at the end of the day, they give me a better deal on the interest rates than the other person because the other person is considered a higher risk.
Yep.
And if you're a higher risk, you end up paying more for things. And is it usually it works out
A
that
lot
people
more.
that have less money are considered higher risk? So it's kind of unfair in life that people with less money have to pay more for things than people with more money. But that's how the
Yeah.
interest rates and
But I think
credits work.
usually it's because people who make less often have more debt. But that's not always true, right? It's ironic though. But yeah, you can I had bad credit. I will share that. It's embarrassing, but not really. Sometimes it happens. No, I I love it. But I did. I had bad credit when I was young. I didn't know what it was. Nobody taught me. I didn't have mom and dad around. I was on my own very young, same with my wife. So we started together 18 years old with nothing. And then we were early parents. So when I say I had bad credit, I had bad credit. One bill from an old rent place, realized it went into bad credit and it was just, so yeah, there's credit card companies that exist that you can get that are not as good, like Capital One, or you can pay $200 to get a $200 credit card, and now you could literally pay to get a credit card. And then once you have it, just don't leave high balance on it. And you gotta do that and grind for a year or two, and then it starts to go away. But yes, you can rebuild it anytime.
Wait, is it true that we like build our credit cards to like an Amex card? Like we have like a credit card
Mhm.
and it's like low companies and then you like go to like an Amex card, you get an Amex or something.
An American Express card, again, it depends, maybe some of them require more credit than others. Usually they're quite happy to give people credit cards because they wanna make money off of you, right? So I remember going to university, I got so many free U of M toques and blankets, I signed up for every single one that had a free thing.
I
Just keep signing up and kept getting credit cards to cut them up and take the free toque.
My uncle did that.
So the more you spend money, the higher the credit cards? Or
The more times you pay off your credit card, the higher your credit rating. So it's like, oh, you've had a credit card for a year and you've paid the whole thing off? That means you're not trying to screw the system and take the money and run. right? But if you buy something for $500 and go, I'm not paying it, not paying it,
You're cooked.
then you get into trouble later on, and they remember that. They used to hire companies that would,
One late payment on a credit card or
interesting for you guys? Sort of? Okay.
you can tell it is.
I mean, they ways of making free money, so.
You could tell you got some curious
Yeah.
ones in here about money.
Una pregunta.
People are.
Y
I don't wanna be stuck broke homeless.
I just like spending money.
I'd much
Yes.
rather have like 100,000 in the bank and not be homeless. I'm pretty sure anyone would.
Decía, una pregunta, ¿y cuánto cuesta en crear dinero en el banco? Fabricarlo en papeles.
No say. How much does it cost the bank to make money? I don't know how much it costs. Okay. What do we got here? Cal borrows $500 for 100 days by taking a cash advance on his credit card. Cash advances are sometimes even more.
Worse.
So you don't have money in your bank account. You need cash. You go to a debit machine and you put in your credit card. It accepts it. You put in your PIN. It says, how much money would you like? $500. But this is different than buying something on your credit card for $500. If you buy $500 item on your credit card, it goes on there. You have to pay it at the end of the month. But if you take $500 cash out from an ATM with your credit card, they're like, perfect, we'll start charging you interest right away. This is a high one. It's at 26%. And it might be that your credit card has something built in where it says, hey, if you take out a cash advance, it's extra high interest rate.
Yeah.
And what do? They make credit cards and debit cards look really the same. So if you screw up and stick the wrong one in the machine, this could be a problem. You don't even realize it. So let's see how much this costs them. Well, let's figure out how much interest. $500, 26%, 100 days, which is a fraction of the year. So you see how we do 100 out of 365? Because it's a fraction of the whole year. Let's figure out how much this interest will be. Rounded to the nearest cent, $35.62, $35 mistake. You stuck the wrong card in the machine and you didn't realize it and you paid it off 3 months later. Now,
You might not think that's a lot.
you know, $35, oh, that's not a lot, but that's $35 you did not have to spend, right? If you don't think it's a lot, you know, at the end of class, I'll put a jar out. You guys can pass it around for tips. Anybody wants to give me a $35 tip, feel free.
Boom.
I'll be happy. So that's it. This is the interest. We actually answered part B. What's the total amount in part A? Is the 500 plus the 35.62. $535.62 you have to pay back. And if you're at a point where you need to take a cash advance on your credit card because you don't have it on your debit card, I actually say don't. Like, not to the point where you're starving and can't live, but actually go hungry a little bit. Force yourself to realize this is not the way I want to be. But if you go and take the easy way out and go to the credit card, you are going to be in that situation for a long time. Because you have to keep going back to it. Because what happens is at the end of the month, you have to pay this off, and then you have no money again. So you have to do it again and again. And you can get into a cycle of owing more and more and more.
Very hard lesson.
What does 8 equal?
The amount.
Oh,
How much do we need? The amount of the whole thing. So this is the answer to part A. And this, I did this first, but it's actually the answer to part B. And I'm not showing you the boxes because they use the other formulas, and I think this is still the easiest way. Calculate your interest first.
I equals PRT.
Keep things simple.
Yeah. Una pregunta, ¿y para qué sirve reciclar si al final al cabo todos lo van a mezclar en la basura?
No sé.
Quizás.
Okay, we'll do one more question, and then because all of these questions are very much the same, so we might just do this one more, finish the lesson, give you time to work on some of the homework questions. Maturity value here is saying how much is it going to be at the end. You got $2,000 and you have to pay it 6 months later, and they're charging you 9.4%. Okay? How much will you pay in the end? So if we look at all the things that we know, the principal, the initial amount was 2,000. Percentage as a decimal, 0.094. And the time in years, 6 out of 12, right? You have to make sure that you're looking at the units, 6 months. This formula is always based on years. So now, if I figure out the interest on $2,000, 0.094 as my interest rate, right? Because this is I equals P RT. And the time is a half a year, 0.5. I type that all into my calculator. Oh, feel like doing mental math. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. Let's see if we're right.
12, 20, 10, 10, times.
Let's see if we are,
I don't know what 10 times 0.094.
it is, this is the right amount.
Oh,
$94 in interest, so at the end, on maturity value, so why do people do this? Well, sometimes you need money, and you'll go to someone and say, hey, you're wondering how I got the 94?
yeah, no, I just, in my head, I'm doing 1% of 2,000.
I did this first.
Yeah, which is,
Half of 2,000 is 1,000.
oh yeah.
And the 1,000 is just moving my decimal place 1, 2, 3 over. I'm getting 90.
What the heck?
Like that?
Yeah.
So sometimes you feel like I need this. I need this because if you're watching the movies, this is like the guy owes money from a gambling debt with shady individuals. They're gonna come do something bad. He's got to pay them $2,000 by tomorrow. He doesn't have 2,000, but someone says, "Hey, I'll give you 2,000 if in 6 months you pay me 2,094." You'd be like, "Yeah, I'll do that," right? Why wouldn't I give 2,000 to this gentleman who owes 2,000 to a gambling debt? I do not trust him to make that money and not gamble at Hoy again. So, right, that's example of what happens when you have a bad credit score. If the bank doesn't trust you to pay something back, they're saying we're taking higher risk. I'll give you the $2,000 for 30%. And you're like, no, that's too much. Well, take it or leave it. And if you're desperate, you end up taking things higher.
Yeah.
I'll stop the video here. We're going to end this note section. We'll leave the rest of the example.